At the time of this recording, I'm 34 years of age, and a huge chunk of those years has been built around health and fitness, and it's been one hell of a journey so far. I've spent 7 years in the Royal Marines. I've done a full Ironman. I've run ultra marathons, and just recently, I did a photo shoot. Looking back at those years, there has been a huge amount of failure and lessons learned along the way. Now, if I could go back to my 18-year-old younger self and give him a bit of advice, nudge him in the right direction, here are 5 brutally honest truths that I would tell him. Lesson number 1, you need a plan. You need some structure, direction, and a sense of progression, because you can't expect to walk into the gym without a plan and get stronger. You can't expect to magically become fitter and just generally more confident in what you're doing if you are making things up on the go every single week, every single month, and expect to make progress. Now, for me, the biggest turning point I can remember would have been right at the start, where the last fitness test that you have to join the Royal Marines is called a PRMC. So you go down to Lympstone for across the week, 5-day travel on Monday, and you kind of finish on the Thursday. There is a bunch of fitness tests within that. And of course, leading up to that week, you have to have practiced, like followed some sort of routine structure. I didn't. So I went down there, thought I was in a good spot physically. I failed because I was just making things up on the go. So I got the train back on my own. Well, there's a few other people that failed. Just thinking like, what's going on? And that was, for me, the biggest turning point. So I knew I had to actually follow a plan. I couldn't just wing it and expect to pass. Like, there was no chance. So from then on, I went back. I created my own little plan, because there wasn't too much on the internet back then with regards to kind of like programs to follow. And I went back the second time about 4 months later, whenever I could get back in, and I passed because I had some sort of routine, some sort of structure. Yeah, it could have been tons better because I just made it up kind of, but I had something to follow. That's the whole thing. Yeah, week to week, I knew what I was doing, and I could tell I was getting fitter and stronger. Alongside that, again, my Ironman, I just made stuff up for like the 6 months leading up to it. I just did what I fancied. And guess what? I barely scraped across the line physically. It wasn't actually an enjoyable experience, the Ironman itself, because I struggled a lot. Now, of course, you are going to struggle in an Ironman. It is a long endurance event, but that was purely down to my lack of structure beforehand and understanding of what I need to do and what I should be doing. And that was a huge lesson. And from then on, I have had structure with everything I have done with regards to kind of any fitness goals or however I've kind of planned it out. I've always had some sort of direction. So for me, that was the turning point. And that is something that I'd always encourage everybody to do from the start of their journey, even years in. If you want to continue to make progress, if you want to continue like feel confident in what you are doing, you have to stop guessing and just making stuff up on the go, because it won't get you anywhere and it won't give you the progress that you want. And the time that you're investing into yourself is extremely precious when it comes to your exercise. You want to be making the most out of it. Lesson number 2, it's going to be hard. Yeah, like, what can we expect when we are doing something we have never done before? And this is something that I think is a barrier for so many people. Like, yes, it is a challenge. Yes, it is going to be hard to begin with. That's fine, but that's the reality of it. Once you start putting time and consistent time into what you are doing, you are going to feel that little bit easier, and you're going to get better at what you are practicing. When I was training for the Ironman and I had to do my swimming, like, I was a joke. I can remember I was in the slow lane down at my leisure centre, and I had this, like, it's about 70-year-old lady, lovely woman, was just lapping me. I was getting to like 25 meters up and I had to stop. I was in bits. I was breathing. I just couldn't move. I had to take like a a minute break before every 25-meter. And I was like, how am I going to swim over 2 miles in the sea without being able to touch my feet on the floor? Like, it felt overwhelming. And she was like, you need to relax and just kind of start to practice your breathing. And I was like, great. And over time, it did click, but that was only because I turned up every morning down the pool and put in half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is. And it just built on, and it did click eventually, but it was not, I promise you now, any time across the first couple of sessions I was down there. I think some people, I hear it so much, like after a couple of sessions, we're still not confident. Well, no, we're not going to be confident after a couple of sessions in the gym or a couple of runs outside, whatever it may be. Like, whatever you've got good at in your life, it has taken time, and that's fine. Like, it's part of it, but we can't beat ourselves up because we found it hard after the first time we've done it. We just can't, because that's always going to put a barrier up on you actually staying consistent. You're beating yourself up even before you started. Yes, it's going to be hard, and that's fine. We can do hard things. Okay, so the biggest thing, I think the mindset we need to go into it is, yes, it's going to be hard, but you are going to get better as long as you stick to it and just keep turning up every single week and embrace the challenge. Like, lean into the fact it's going to be hard. I almost enjoy that part because it makes the process of everything that you are doing a hell of a lot more enjoyable. Lesson number 3, your week of exercise should be built around strength training. And I'm going to say it's as simple as that. And this is more of a practical lesson in what you should be doing physically. The stronger you are, the more able you are. And that's in day-to-day life. And that is within your goal. When I first started my Ironman training, I deleted all of my strength training, all of it. I didn't do any. I just did my biking, swimming and running. I started picking up niggles. My legs weren't as strong on the bike. And then I brought it back in. I brought in 2 full body strength sessions across the week, because that's kind of all I could fit in. 2 45 minutes, ticked off all the muscles, did some squats, did some deadlifts, did some kind of overhead pressing, and did some work for my back muscles just to help everything when I was on the bike for a longer time. And I kept that in right up until like the last couple of weeks before the Ironman itself. And honestly, like, the difference it made, I'm not going to say immediately, but like in a very short space of time, was huge. And I just felt more able. I've never left strength training out of my program. I've plotted it in before my runs because that's how much I value it. And that goes with any type of physical goal, like any sport. As a whole, across the board, everybody should be lifting weights. And I literally mean everybody. I work with people who are between 70 years of age, 75, 80. And yeah, they are all strength training multiple times a week, like 2 to 3 times a week for 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how many sessions they are doing. But everybody, and when I say everybody, everybody should have an element of strength training in a plan that suits them. Lesson number 1, in their week. Lesson number 4, ask for help. Now, the first 10 years of having a life kind of built around health and fitness and doing bits and bobs, I just did stuff on my own, like a few YouTube videos, etc. Nothing specific for me, no specific help, no accountability, no support, and not a structure for me. It was just generic plans I'd kind of follow for a few weeks, and that would tail off because I'd have no accountability. And that is the problem with just trying to follow a program online. You just download like a 4-week training plan. You got to tail off because it's not built for you. And on the days you don't particularly want to do it, you're not going to do it because there's nobody holding you accountable. I've worked with 2 coaches. I currently have a coach myself right now. My first coach I worked with, absolute legend, and he just raised my standards for everything. We all chase this fix, this hack. Right? What's the quickest way for that, Jack? Or what's it? It is that the only hack we can have, and I promise you now, like the only hack there is asking for help and working alongside somebody who has done what you've done before, who has helped people like you before, and has got more experience, because they have already made mistakes in the past, and they will remove that from your decision making. So that, as a byproduct, by definition, will mean you get to where you want to go quicker, and not even in a matter of weeks. That will take months off where you want to go. It is a straight beeline for your goal. There's no zigzagging, making mistakes, putting yourself back, stopping because you've made a bit of a bugger up and you've had an off few days, you don't know how to get back into routine. There is none of that because you have somebody by your side. So that changed the absolute game for me, having my first coach, and now I have my new coach, my second coach, called Paul. And again, he's just completely notched everything up with regards to his knowledge and his coaching application, I suppose, with regards to kind of how he helps me, how he teaches me. And he is a fountain of knowledge, and I'm just a sponge listening to him. And yeah, I mean, like I said, but it's just having someone there, like trying to do stuff on your own. And this is a big wide world of the whole health and fitness. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of crap out there as well. There is. And that can distract you from what you need to be doing and where you need to go. So for me, this is like probably one of, if not the biggest lesson that I wish I'd done years before. But I'd say these last 5 years, I have made the most progress ever at the fastest rate as well, because I've had a coach. Lesson number 5. It's a big one. And it's almost a quote. I say a quote. Yeah. You get what you put in. And honestly, now, I love this mindset because it is just so true. The health and fitness game, this whole big thing, right? It is the fairest game possible, because what you put in, you will receive. And I think sometimes we can fall into a little bit of we think we're probably more entitled to what we think. I've definitely been in that mindset before, most definitely, in, I'd say, the first kind of 10 or so years. Again, going back to my Ironman training, I did not put in what I should have. And guess what? I found that bloody hard. And then I always look at it from the flip side. My first ultra marathon I did, although I got lost en route, so I did an extra God knows how many miles, which we'll go into that another time. I trained my backside off for a good 4 months, 12, 14 weeks beforehand. I did not miss a beat. I did not miss a run. I was getting up at silly o'clock in the morning to make sure it got done, but I didn't miss one run. I was running 3-4 times across the week. I absolutely loved that run, that ultra marathon, simply because in my mind I knew I'd put in a good bit of graft leading up to it. I honestly did. And when I finished it, and when I crossed the finish line, I was chuffed a bit, because I knew what I'd put in before. And that feeling of fulfillment, honestly, it is very, very nice. Let's just say that. And on the flip side, going backwards, that when I crossed the finish line of the Ironman, I wasn't actually that fulfilled. Like, I was just almost glad it was over. Because I hadn't put the work in before. And after that Ironman, my whole mindset changed with regards to, you need to, like, putting in the work that's all your progress cares about. I skipped sessions going into that in my Ironman training. I skipped a good few sessions, cut sessions short. Yeah, did other sessions that I fancy doing instead of what I should have done. And that just backfired on me massively. Like, Jesus Christ, I was in a hurt locker for hours because of that. And it does. And that really hit home. And it is the journey leading up to what you achieve. But honestly, when you do put the work in, it is a game changer, because how it makes you feel is just like, it's just brilliant. It really is. And that's where that whole kind of mindset of what you get, what you put in, you will get out. And I am such a strong believer in that, because I have experienced those two completely different feelings over the years. And I know which one is better, that's for sure. So it is about putting in, and what I realized, it is about putting in a good amount of work for probably a longer time than what you think, to see the progress that you want to see. Again, that's okay. Yes, it's a challenge, but again, as I said previously, we want to lean into these challenges, right? We get that feeling about ourselves that we can do hard things, but until we do that, we won't get that feeling, and there's always going to be that bit of self-doubt. So do hard things, and the feeling you will get will be, hey, look, it'd be brilliant. So there we go. Lesson 5 wrapped up. Right, and ladies and gents, that is all 5 brutally honest lessons from my 15 years of training wrapped up. I hope you managed to take some actionable steps from that. And there we go. So I love you and leave you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.